We're hardcore wrestling radio. In HWR, we may not drop a lot of pipe bombs, but we sure as hell drop a lot of F-bombs. So don't say you weren't warned. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio. I'm the Shining Star, Rick Starr, and we got the whole crew here once again. First, let me introduce my partner. He's back after a couple of weeks hiatus. He's the son of a bitch, Andy. Andy, welcome back to Hardcore Wrestling Radio.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and there's nothing wrong with my anus.
Well, I'll take your word for it.
How is your stalking of Dixie Carter?
I've gone off her since she got on hands and knees to Hulk Hogan.
Well, real quick before we get to the rest of the panel, did you buy her new shirt?
Andy?
I'm thinking about it.
You'll probably be the only one who does buy it. But let's get on to the rest of the panel while Andy thinks about that a little bit more. From WGS TV, he's the Wrestle Gamer, Billy Boudreaux. Billy, welcome to the show.
Batman Arkham Origins out this Friday. You know, this Wrestle Gamer's getting it, as well as WWE 2K14. So let's just hope it's good, because I fucking traded in WWE 13 and because I didn't give a damn about it.
That goes for me as well. And then over from Lance Moss TV, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, and 91-0 is not bullying.
And then he's the Bay Area MVP, known as Will. Will, welcome to HWR.
If Dixie's train smells, Andy, I'm going to throw you on it.
Today's secret word is burrito.
If he goes on it, just remember one thing. Scratch and sniff. Scratch and sniff.
If he scratches, are you sure you want to sniff?
Well, you have to scratch and then sniff before you do anything like lick.
Oh!
If you scratch and there's anything to sniff, you got a problem.
Oh, yeah, there's something on there, and you don't want to do anything else. But before we go on, let's forget, of course, another person we have to welcome back is our good friend Joe from Classic Wrestling Association. Joe, welcome back.
Thank you, Rick. Just want to make this medical announcement. I found the cure for insomnia. If you can't sleep at night, please watch a TNA program. It's guaranteed to put you to sleep.
Thank God he didn't say any of my YouTube videos.
You know what? I got a couple DVR'd. I'll have to try that. Because I couldn't sleep last night. So, but, let's get on to the show. Will does have a couple of opening stories for us before we get on to our Hell in a Cell preview. Will, over to you.
All right, thank you, Rick. Tonight I have a few notes to talk about. Number one is the speculation of Michael P.S. Hayes may be replaced. Since the little fiasco of giving Rosa Mendes some alcohol, for which we know. Gentlemen, do we see Michael Hayes replaced? Rick, let's go with you. Or Billy, go ahead.
I gotta say, for his deplorable actions, and for a guy who once had put a lot of stock in his name, Michael P.S. Hayes, one of the founding members of the Freebirds, you would have figured he would have had a lot more respect for the business than to pull what he pulled. But you know what? I would not be shocked. I would not be surprised or amiss to seeing him being replaced. I mean, Michael P.S. Hayes, if you want to take your name and just run it into the ground and just run, stick your name in mud, you went ahead and did that. So I will not feel sorry for you if you get replaced.
Okay, Rick, with this whole fiasco, what do you think?
I have to go right along with Billy. We talked about this last week. This guy, he's had several chances. He's done racial slurs at Triple H and Stephanie's wedding, and got away with it. He's asked for sexual favors, and it's kind of been overlooked. This is technically his third strike, but it's I guess somehow it's only come across as a second strike. And somehow he's just still gotten away with it. Anybody else, they would be out the door. And I'm sorry, I think he should really be gone. Andy, I'm going to kick it over to you.
I agree exactly the same as what yourself and Billy have said. I don't know, we just don't need the old has-been associated with WWE anymore. He's served his purpose. About time he sort of walked away and let somebody else have a job.
All right, Lance, what do you think about all this and what's going on?
Well, Michael P.S. Hayes, Doc Hendricks, whatever you want to call him, should go. But do I see him getting fired and then rehired? Probably.
Okay, Joseph, you want to add into what's been going on?
You know, it's a shame a guy like Michael Hayes, who's been, you could say, a legend in the sport, for him to go off on the deep end like this. But you know what? They need to replace him. They need to replace the old guards and start bringing in some new people in. You know, Michael Hayes doing everything that he's been doing lately. I think it's a kind of a way of maybe he wants to get out. Maybe he's testing the waters and see what he could possibly do. But I believe he should be replaced and somebody else needs to put in there.
One last question before we get on to the next subject. I want to ask everybody's real question. Do you think Michael Hayes should be inducted into the Hall of Fame, or do you think they should give him a pass? Not necessarily this year, but somewhere down the road. What do you guys think, real quick, yes or no? I say, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. Joe, what do you think? Do you think he deserves an induction?
You know, I thought he was in the Hall of Fame, but you cannot, even though he has these little quirks and you have to call them quirks, regardless of that, he still was a major player in professional wrestling during the 80s and 90s. You know, no one can ever forget the feud with the Freebirds and the Von Erichs. Just that alone is what is going to cement him in the Hall of Fame. And his feud with the Road Warriors. So, do I see him going in the Hall of Fame? Should he go in the Hall of Fame? I believe so.
Okay. Okay, Billy, what do you think? Yes or no?
I have to echo the sentiments of Joseph Knight. I mean, you know, if you want to induct people into the Hall of Fame, you need to look on what they've done in the past. You know, what have they done to earn their stature, earn their place in the WWE Hall of Fame? And Mr. Knight is correct. You know, for the Fabulous Freebirds, Michael P.S.A.'s, Terry Bam Gordy, Buddy Rogers, those three guys, they made the Fabulous Freebirds, but Michael P.S.A.'s was the mouthpiece of the group. And then when they went on with Gorgeous George and Jimmy Garvin, Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, yeah. And that man was a card, I'll tell you that, just to see him in the NWA. But, you know, wherever you heard the name Freebird, whose name do you most associate with that name? And guaranteed every time, the first name that everyone thinks of is Michael P.S.A.'s.
Fair enough. Andy, your thoughts?
Exactly the same as everybody else. My honest opinion is, and I've said it before, people should be in the Hall of Fame for what they've achieved in their career. Hence, somebody like Chris Benoit should be in there, not for what he did at the end of his career, but for what he did during his career. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, but you got to remember there are a lot of butthurt marks out there. He's like, oh, he killed his family. He doesn't long to be there. Well, Mike Tyson ain't exactly a crystal clean picture of a good guy himself. So
yeah,
And
convicted rapist and ear biter.
Exactly. And I think that's what this whole forum is about. Lance, your thoughts?
For everything he's done for the business, abso-freaking-lutely.
Awesome. And back over to you, Will. We're going to let you finish off and kick it back on to
all right, here we go. Subject. Next thing we got, gentlemen, is Eva Marie's backstage heat and the attempt of WWE making her foolish. Now, gentlemen, let's not be surprised. She's only had 2 matches. For those who watch Total Divas, that little...
You watch Total Divas, then you're fucking whipped.
Yeah, okay. So, gentlemen, my question is to you, and I'll start off with Lance. Do you think Eva Marie will get out of this foolish little fiasco she's going to go through and listen to the officials in the back?
The only way she's gonna is to listen to them, but I kind of don't see it happening.
All right, let me shoot up to Rick. My question for you, Rick, is we see Eva Marie only 2 matches and don't really have a lot of moves. Where do you think she's going to go from here?
You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I did watch Total Divas, and That appears to be the only thing. She only seems to be eye candy at this stage. So as a wrestling ability, she has none. Zip. I think the problem with the WWE, yeah, they wanted to knock her down a few pegs, but the problem is she really didn't appear to be. They're not training her, or either she's not training her right, or she doesn't have the skill as a wrestler. So if that's the case, make her a manager. That would probably be the next step. If they can't do it with that, then I don't know. Have her do something else. Have her put her out in the public and try to push the public that way, because she is definitely great eye candy. She can be an asset in some form of the business. That's just my thoughts.
Since Billy's in dismay, go ahead.
Well, considering the fact that, from the reports I heard, she's walking around acting like, oh, I'm hot stuff. I'm better than you. And you know what? It only serves her right to have her, put in her place. I mean, if you can't perform in the ring, then why the fuck are you backstage boasting that you're so much better than everybody else just because you're on a fucking reality scripted program? Give me a fucking break. Eva Marie, you can go straight to hell.
All right, Andy, kick it to you.
I don't really know what to say, because the WWE are making these stars and then they just kicking the limelight from under them or taking it off them, and I don't know. Has she upset somebody in the back? I don't know. Why are they just not treating her in my honest opinion, they're not treating her properly. They're not even giving her a fair chance at all. She's just been made a scapegoat, which has been done so many times.
She's being a bitch backstage, that's why.
Unfortunately, all the divas get where they are by shaking their booty and looking rather attractive. That's all the divas have ever had going for them. So she's doing no more or no less than any other diva's ever done. You're not telling me people like Mickie James, Kelly Kelly, they haven't been strutting their stuff backstage to get the positions they got.
Yeah, but I think there's a difference between strutting your stuff and then going around backstage saying, you know what, I'm better than you, and you. I don't care how long you've been here, I'm still better than you. That's what she was doing.
Is that fact, or is that just according to reports?
But what it comes down to is immaturity. I mean, most girls, if they're attractive and they get picked up, say, by a modelling agency, they think in their own mind they're the best model in the world. It's just her age. Her age is the problem. She's very young and very naive.
Here's the thing, gentlemen. The problem is that the WWE created the monster. Any person, let's face it, any person in the wrestling scene, in any type of profession that gets called up into the WWE and gets thrown into the limelight, you're where the publicity is. From being in the WWE, your career elevates. If you're a diva, obviously you're going to go to a diva TV show. You're going to go into Playboy. You're going to go into modeling, photography. Any young person who's familiar with the product is going to go overboard, and they're going to be, oh my God, I'm in the WWE. I'm sure any one of us, will go crazy backstage if you were called into the WWE, even if it's to work in the back. Oh my God, I'm in the WWE. So it's a mix of her fault for letting her ego blow up, but at the same time, it's a mess. It's truly the blame on WWE for not, educating them enough before bringing them in and say, folks, you got to learn how it works.
Joseph will probably know this better than any of us, but from what I hear and what I see on the internet and various different videos and stuff, the most paranoid people in the world are professional wrestlers.
You know what?
They think every day their job is going to be taken over by somebody else. Nice guys don't make it big in professional wrestling. You've got to stand on top of people and keep jumping up and down to prove you are better than they are. So for her saying, I'm nicer looking than you, I'm more attractive than you, I've got this going for me, I've got that going for me, goes on in every single locker room. Yet they should have respect for the olders or their elders. That's what wrestling was all about 15, 20 years ago. Times have changed.
Lance, over to you real quick. I know that you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Well, let's face it, she's green as goose shit. Because she started training in July. She should not even be on TV right now.
So she really hasn't even been in NXT like a lot of the other female wrestlers, so she hasn't really gotten that fair chance.
Nope.
Will, what are your thoughts about this?
I was waiting for you to get back to me. The only thing I gotta say is everybody here has a legitimate point. I mean, go to NXT. Go get your training. I mean, it's pathetic. That's all I gotta say.
Can I just interject? I mean, I haven't seen any of this Divas thing, but why do a TV show for someone that's not even a wrestler? Why have her in a TV show that's not even about wrestlers?
You know what? I can
Publicity.
answer that because it's another venue that the WWE can branch into. And I said this many times. The WWE, when it you could say really took off in the 80s, they were promoting professional wrestling, but as entertainment. From day one, Vince even stated it. He wanted to hit the company to go into multiple directions. He didn't want to stick to professional wrestling.
Yeah, and before we get back to Will on his next subject, we talked real quick about the Total Divas, and I know some people said that, I don't want to watch it because it's really not really based around wrestling, and I'm sorry, I watched the first series because I wanted to give it a fair chance, and I'm going to tell you, whoever says that it has nothing to do with wrestling has not watched it or doesn't know what they're talking about, because that really has almost everything to do with wrestling. It really has everything to do with wrestling, the behind the scenes of wrestling. If you really are a wrestling fan, that's what you should be watching. It's not like just them saying, I'm just a diva. I'm just going to put my makeup on and, not do nothing. It has everything to do with wrestling. So if you're not a wrestling fan and you're not watching this, I'm sorry. You're just saying you're not watching it, you're just flat out ignorant, period.
Oksana has to train to be useless?
Apparently. Will?
Luke Harper has been getting good backstage reactions from the officials of how he's been good in the ring. No mention about Eric Rowan. Everybody has been looking at Luke Harper and that wicked clothesline as his finisher. So I'm going to kick it to Billy first. What are your reactions about Luke Harper from the back?
I'm quite impressed with Luke Harper myself. I mean, yeah, he's got that devastating discus clothesline finisher, and even JBL says, I love a good clothesline, and so do I. I mean, there's been so many people to employ a good clothesline finisher. Hint, hint, Mr. fucking boomstick motherfucker. But take note on how to properly do a clothesline finisher. Luke Harper took notice on how to do a proper clothesline finisher, and that discus clothesline pretty much beats the boomstick out of the park every single time I see it. So you know what? I am impressed with Luke Harper, and I see good things in the future for Mr. Harper.
Hashtag Jay Bradley's crying behind a rock. Rick, my question to you is, now that Harper has been more the dominant one than Rowan, do you see Luke Harper in the future getting a singles run?
Right now, I think it's way too early for that to happen. In the future, I could definitely something like that see happen. For one, he's obviously the favorite of the favorite of the three, if you ask out of me, because even Bray Wyatt doesn't even. I mean, let's face it. This group has been out for almost 3 months now, and aside from this little quote unquote injury that he's had, which I still question, he still hasn't wrestled. He didn't even wrestle even before the injury. And what's that say? That these guys are the real workers, and that obviously Harper is the one that's shining. So I have to agree with you. Andy, over to you.
My honest opinion, I don't like the Wyatt family, but I'm not going to disrespect the guy for that. All I can see in this guy is they're going to clean him up slightly, get rid of the beard, and here's the new Bradshaw.
All right, Lance, what do you think about the reactions from Luke Harper from the boys in the back?
Finally, they're finally finding talent, and good for Harper.
I love how you emphasize the word talent.
And again, just interrupting, and again, nice one, WWE. You picked the wrong fucking front man.
All right, Joe, you want to chime in on this?
Oh, absolutely. Luke Harper, the former Brody Lee from the Independents, and what makes this guy interesting, and I don't know if you guys followed this up on it, but he was trained by cruiserweights. He was trained by Tony Marmaluke from ECW and various other individuals. He was, I'm going to give a little brief history. This is a man who was in Chikara, Combat Zone, Dragon Gate, Jersey All Pro, and Ring of Honor. Here's a guy who was trained by smaller people, and it works for him. So he's got good mobility. What I see in Luke Harper, Brody Lee, is the next Bruiser Brody. This is what I see from this guy. And, Billy, I got to disagree with you. Usually I'm a person that says I think wrestlers should be clean-shaven and all that. But the gimmick fits him. Even throughout his independent career, he had the beard.
It wasn't me who said it. It was Andy.
Oh, Andy, I'm sorry. But in this case, why should I even confuse you two? The point is, he's got everything it takes to be the next step. He could take it, and I just hope WWE uses him right, because this is a man that, that can be the next Bruiser Brody. Just keep an eye on him.
Okay, and my thoughts for this before I take it over to Rick is basically, everybody said it, he has shined. With Wyatt's injury and Rowan just being a regular brawler, I could see him having a singles title in the future. Not right now, but he has shined. The fans even gave him some reactions, some clean ones at that. And this is great for him. And Joe, you had a good point there. His beard, he's had it ever since. I know that in his indie circuit, yes, I acknowledge that. I read about it. He's been doing very good. So, as Andy posts that there. But bottom line, before, just Luke Harper in that clothesline, like Billy said, is a lot better than that damn boomstick. Thank you. And with that said, Rick, I'll give this segment to you now. It's your turn.
Thank you, Will. Well, now we're going to talk, we kind of talked about WWE. Let's talk a little bit about TNA a bit. We know that Mickie James has left TNA, but she says she's not quite done with wrestling yet. She said that she'd like to do some more wrestling, and she said that she would, quote-unquote, like to retire the right way. And I'm trying to figure out exactly what does this mean. Does this mean that she wants to, someone would think that this means that she wants to, get inducted into the Hall of Fame. The WWE Hall of Fame right now is probably the most prestigious Hall of Fame in the industry. Like it or not, guys, that's it is it. So one could assume that's where she's going to go and get that, because even with that Hall of Fame induction, you get a big, nice little hefty check. Everybody knows that. Andy, your thoughts?
When we had a discussion off air before we came on about Mickie James, I think when Mickie James says she wants to retire the right way or go out the right way, I think she's going to go back to the independents and doing it old school. I really do. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see her not on TV. But if that's what she's supposedly reported to have said, then I really do think that's what she means. She's going to go back to old school in-house indie wrestling.
Yeah, because she didn't really say where she's going to TNA. She never said WWE. She just said the right way. It was just very, very vague. Andy, your thoughts? Billy, your thoughts?
I wouldn't be surprised to see her in Ring of Honor in the near future. Look what's happened as of late. We've already seen a video on Ring of Honor's YouTube channel of Maria Kanellis, who is, at Tara, a.k.a. Lisa Varon, I think her real name is. Lisa Marie Varon, and in a restaurant, and even Lisa Varon was on there, and I don't know if Ring of Honor's trying to build something like with an angle between her and Maria Kanellis. I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind seeing a Mickie James in Ring of Honor. I would like to see what kind of fan response she would get. I wouldn't even mind seeing her in TCW. Give Lily a nice run for her money.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, that would be very good. Joe, over to you. What are your thoughts?
Well, let's face it. When someone wants to go out in grand style, what better way to go out in grand style in the WWE Hall of Fame and being part of WrestleMania 30? Let's face it. Nobody that's already been to the top, unless their careers completely spiraled down, that nobody wants them, are going to go to the indies. No offense to any former WWE TNA person out there, but let's face it, Mickie James is still a hot commodity. She just came out of TNA. With the other topic Rick's going to bring up, but I'm just going to stick it to right now with Mickie James. What better way for Mickie James to come back next year into the WWE, be part of the Hall of Fame? Because they need to induct a woman wrestler. So Mickie fits it perfectly. And if they want to run an angle, the original Psycho Diva versus the new Psycho Diva and AJ Lee. So a WrestleMania 30 match with Mickie versus AJ, you can't beat that.
Well, the original Psycho Diva was Luna.
There's actually a couple of people who would say there's a lot of people who would claim fame to the original Psycho Divas, but that could be another conversation for another time. Will, your thoughts?
Short and sweet. I mean, we all acknowledge Mickie James' career, what she's done, what she's accomplished, what she could bring to the business, but I don't know. I mean, how old is she? 30-something? 35? 36?
She's up there. She's around that age.
Unless she can keep herself healthy, then I could see her coming back to wrestling. But if she's really serious about her music career, then she shouldn't really push it. But, you know, she's accomplished a lot. I mean, for once I'm very short on this one, but, yeah, I mean, can't disrespect her. She's brought a lot into the business, but I don't know. Can she come back? Yes. Long term, who knows?
All right, Lance, your thoughts?
Well, I think she'll probably do a short-term run, especially once the Total Divas thing kicks back off, and her, AJ, and a few other true veterans, notice how I said true veterans, come back and go against the so-called veterans of the Bellas and some of the Total Diva chicks.
Now, we've already talked. Now, another person who could be possibly heading to the WWE, we're not sure about this. This is just, a thought. This is speculation about Kurt Angle. Now, we all know that Kurt Angle just recently got out of rehab, which was a WWE rehab. He was inducted this past weekend in the TNA Hall of Fame. But what was weird was this past weekend when Sting was about to give him his watch, his inductorial Hall of Fame watch, Kurt Angle did something very, very weird that I don't think we've ever seen before, whether in TNA or the WWE. He rejected it. Now, someone could say this is a storyline, which, with TNA has been very shaky with some of their storylines. He gave it back. He didn't accept it. Someone wondering, could the WWE have gotten to him? Could he have reached out to him while he was in rehab and kind of be waiting to head back and get himself inducted in WWE, go for the bigger prize?
It's very feasible, I'll tell you that.
Okay, well, Billy, since you opened up, go ahead, chime in. What are your thoughts?
Well, like I said, it is very feasible that, WWE reached out to him during the time he spent in the WWE-sponsored rehab program. I'm pretty sure their WWE doctors were giving him the WWE talk along with the WWE medicine, and I don't know how many more times I could say WWE in the statement, but it's WWE.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things, if I could chime in here, while in order for him to get into this rehab program that the WWE sponsors, he has to go through their office. So I'm sure Stephanie, the big man himself, Triple H, they probably got into his ear while he was in rehab and says, hey, the fans would love to see you in a big area market, Mick Foley has been putting up on his Facebook regarding comments about Kurt Angle and, how fans would like to see him back in WWE and his greatest matches. He is another guy who I'm going to say, if it was a storyline for him to reject his watch, why a watch, I don't know, but in order for him to say, well, I'm gonna go back, I gotta really clean myself up and come back better, bigger, and better to TNA, then I could see that where the storyline would be. If it wasn't a storyline, then if he went, and again, this is another person like Mickie James that goes into March and says, guess what, folks? Kurt Angle's in the WWE Hall of Fame and will be at WrestleMania 30. Here's another way for somebody else who's a former TNA star to slap TNA in the face, smack, by one, refusing their Hall of Fame, and two, for getting up and leaving to go to a bigger company.
Will, over to you.
Do I see Angle back in the WWE? I believe so. I think
I believe so.
Yeah. Long story short, yeah, I'm shocked as much as half of us here on why he negated taking the watch from Sting. And usually, it's an honor to get an induction like that. Shocking, but since the rehab was, based from the WWE, and we can't really say Triple H influenced Angle, but I mean, time will tell. But I see him getting the bigger prize here. I don't think he has nothing to lose.
Lance, let me ask you this. We know that for many years, Kurt Angle said that he would never go back to the WWE. And, of course, we always say never. Do you think that maybe Triple H, who's been known to mend bridges, do you think he actually was the one who went out and mended that bridge?
Probably, because from what I hear, the big rift was between Kurt and Daddy Big Bucks.
Yeah. It could very well look that way. Now that, considering that, Triple H and Stephanie are pretty much pulling the reins for the most part. I mean, we know that Vince still has a majority control over the company. We know that Triple H and Stephanie have a good say of what goes on. Not 100%, but I can say it's probably about a good 40%. They still go to Vince for a lot, but it's still strong. Andy, your thoughts?
Would I like to see Kurt Angle in the WWE? Yes, but only because I'd like to reminisce. Second point, does he deserve to be in the WWE at this time in his life? No. 2 reasons. Number 1, he might have been in rehab and got clean. The main reason why I don't think he will be, he'll be in the Hall of Fame, there's no 2 ways about it, and that's all he will come back for. The other reason is, I've called this now for the last 2 or 3 years, the guy just looks like, since his marriage went down the toilet, at first I said, God, has this guy got cancer? His body's gone. He looks old. His ring attire looks like it's never seen a washing machine for the last 4 years. The guy's going to have to change his image because he just looks like a rundown wrestler. WWE ain't going to pick him up the way he's looking at the moment, apart from give him a Hall of Fame. And as for all the people falling into the trap, WWE have got in his ear and he's disrespected TNA. We all know TNA doesn't go out live. Are they really going to put something on where somebody actually tells the truth and tells them basically to stick the watch up their arse? They wouldn't show it on TV. It's all the storyline. Don't get taken in.
But here's one thing, and why is it a possibility for Kurt Angle to go back? Bruno Sammartino was never going to ever come back to the WWEF, whatever you want to call it. It took Triple H to mend that little rift between him and Vince. And what did you see? Something that everybody said, Bruno will never go into the WWE Hall of Fame. He detests the WWE. And look, Bruno was in the Hall of Fame. Could Kurt Angle actually, been talked to by these guys? Possibly. Regarding the storyline angle, if you were an individual like Kurt is, and even in a business sense, let's look at a business sense here. TNA is looking to cut back on its veteran talent. If you've seen how they give the belt to AJ, they gave the tag belts to Broman or whatever they call themselves, and they're moving the belts to the, I hate to say it, cheaper guys, but they're doing that and relieving the money, the name people of titles. Maybe this is an indication that TNA's looking to do major cutbacks. Maybe Kurt really didn't want the watch and left it like that. One thing, and maybe and the fans and you guys could probably pick up, if we go back and review that moment in video and look at it over, what was Sting's true reaction? Did it look like it was a stage reaction, or was it something that it looked like, this is not supposed to happen? Because once you're in a live pay-per-view, you can't stop and edit. This is live. So whatever happens, and you got to whitewash it somehow on your TV show. But TNA didn't even do that. They didn't even follow it up on it.
Part of me wants to think it's a storyline, but you know what? A lot of people thought the Hulk Hogan, quitting on Dixie was a storyline. They thought that was just, but you still don't know because Hulk Hogan still has yet to come back.
Well, in Hulk Hogan's case, and I discussed this with you many times, Rick, Hulk Hogan has nothing else to give TNA, and TNA's not going to keep, or should I say the Carters are not going to keep forking over a good couple of mil for Hulk Hogan to do zero in the company. Hulk Hogan will be at WrestleMania 30 hosting it. There's 30 years of WrestleMania. What better way to host WrestleMania than to bring him and Mr. T, who started the whole thing back in WrestleMania 1?
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. I mean, just maybe as guests, just as a waving in the middle of the ring, but that's probably about it. I'm not sure how well it would go over the fans. Some fans, the marks would probably go, would suck it up, but that's probably about it. And I think that's as far as it would go. But let's move on to our the main topic of what we're talking about. We're talking about this Sunday's Hell in a Cell preview. There's several matches. I mean, on paper, I guess it looks okay. It's kind of a light pay-per-view. There's usually 8 matches, and there's even if you looked, I even looked into this Friday's spoilers, and they only added 1 extra match. So there's only the kickoff match and 6 matches. So there's 7 matches all in all. So you got to wonder, are they going to have a surprise match somewhere? But let's start off with our kickoff match. That's the Intercontinental Championship. Curtis Axel versus Big E Langston. So, guys, do we possibly see a title change here? Do we see Big E Langston? Is he ready for the IC title? The title?
Well, I've said it many, many times on my YouTube channel before. What has Curtis Axel done with the Intercontinental title? Nothing.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. So, I think, right there pretty much says that Big E Langston could very well take the title. A
lot of fans seem to think that way as well.
Yeah. Will, your thoughts?
Okay, as I was shaking my head for 3 seconds, Big E new champion. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Joe, your thoughts on this match?
Guys, why? I'm sorry, I discussed this also with Rick. Big E is not ready for a championship of this, even though it's the Intercontinental title. I'm sorry, he's not the material. That's like giving the belt to R-Truth. It's nothing against their skills, but they gotta have something. And while Curtis Axel, all he has is just a name, Big E has nothing but a build, and he has that look like, even in his face, he looks like Bobby Lashley. It's just something, that belt should go to, that match should have been with somebody else, possibly The Miz. I'm going to have to say Curtis Axel's going to hold on to this title, and you're going to see somebody else go into it.
I don't think Miz would make any sense because they're trying to push him towards an angle with him and the Wyatt family. So I don't see Miz taking on Curtis Axel as a matchup having any sense to it. I mean,
I agree.
Oh, the way I see it is, if anybody else could have fit that match except Big E, it's not like he actually earned that match. And here's another thing for you: Curtis Axel is a Paul Heyman guy, so I could see CM Punk beating Ryback and then challenging Curtis Axel. What better way to get back at Paul Heyman than taking one of his belts?
I don't think CM Punk would ever want to go to the IC title. I think that would just put him on a lower scale. I mean, even if he just takes it just to spite him, it just doesn't make sense. That would be like John Cena winning the IC title. It doesn't fit.
Well, it's just, put it like this: it's good because it keeps Punk in the championship picture. Because right now it's going to be Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, until fans get tired of it and they decide to go a different route. Giving somebody else the Intercontinental title like Punk would make a lot of sense. So definitely Curtis Axel over the big goof.
All right. Lance, your thoughts?
Well, something I noticed lately, Curtis Axel has been calling Big E rookie. Correct me if I'm wrong, but hadn't Big E been part of the main roster a good chunk longer than Curtis Axel?
I have to correct you on that. He's been on there for a while, not as long as Axel, but he's been on there for a while. But yeah, I think that it's just a way of starting up the feud, and it's a good way of starting the feud. And I like the way it worked. It worked out very, very well for them.
I think the question we should look at is, who's been more relevant longer.
Yeah, Big E's certainly been more relevant than Axel, and even though this is Axel's second package, it's his second gimmick. So yeah, I have to agree with you. Big E's been far more relevant. Andy, I'm not sure. Andy said, "Are you with us, Andy?" Nope.
Andy's into his Stokon style vodka right now.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to we'll give a pass on this one, and we'll get to the next one. We're going to get on to the WWE Divas Championship match, which is AJ Lee versus Brie Bella. Now, guys, I'm sorry, this match for me, I'm just shaking my head. I'm not.
I'm actually looking forward to it. Because just for the thing, and look at Brie Bella the past couple of weeks, and how much improvement that she has shown in her in-ring ability. She has shown, to me, I've been on the Bella's case for a long, long time. I've always said, they were just a couple of pretty faces. They were lower mid-card at best, and Brie Bella has just shined. I mean, really, really shined the past several weeks in the WWE. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they do with AJ Lee and Brie Bella.
Well, okay, then since you're on their case, who's your pick for the win?
It's very, very hard to say because there are two good routes they could go with. If they want to keep a good heel champion in your Divas division, then of course AJ Lee is indeed your best bet. If they really want to change it up and turn the focus not just on the Brie Bella but on like Total Divas and stuff like that, then they would put the title on Brie Bella. I would really have to toss a coin on this one, and for some reason, there's probably going to be interference by both Nikki Bella and Tamina. I don't see a clean finish happening in this match.
I have to agree with you, but you know what? Now that you mentioned that the Total Divas series is starting back up, they kind of took a break, and now they're coming off of the second in the series. So just on that basis alone, I'm going to go with Brie Bella. No doubt there's going to be some run-ins, but I think that's what's going to happen, so that's what I'm going to call. Will, over to you.
Well, Rick, hold on, before we go to Will, Rick, I need you to clarify. Do you Brie Bella to win the match, or Brie Bella to win the title?
I'm sorry, to win the title, yes. I can very well see her win the title. Thank you.
I see her winning the match, but not winning the title. Will?
Okay. Yeah, I agree with everybody here. Total Divas, blah, blah, blah. Give the belt to Brie, and the story.
All right. Andy, you back?
I am. I can't see them giving the belt to Brie for the simple reason they've got no storyline if she takes the belt, where with AJ Lee they can keep it running for a fair few months yet, but if Brie Bella takes it, she's got no feuds with anybody. Who's going to take her on apart from AJ?
All right.
Rick, if you say Oksana, I'm going to go over there to Boston and punch you dead in the face.
Darn. Beat me to the punch. Joe, your thoughts?
Honestly, as much as I detest the Divas because of their lack of skill, I see AJ keeping the belt because I have to agree with everybody else. There's just no storyline. What are they going to do? Take the belt to Total Divas and flash it around? It's not supposed to be that type of program, so I don't see it happening. I see AJ keeping him by, again, doing the little interference. Again, it's not going to be a clean match. Now, let me ask you a question, Rick. You're more familiar with this than I am. Is Mickie James completely clean out of her contract? Is she open?
She has no contract with anybody.
Wouldn't that be something for AJ and Mickie to meet, to set up? It's the end of the year. It is the end of the year. So what if, and this is a what if, and I'll make it short, what if Mickey comes in and costs AJ the match, but she doesn't lose the belt?
I don't think it would happen. I don't think she can come in just yet because there's still some kind of a clause, like a no-compete clause, so she wouldn't be able to do it even if she wanted to. She's out. She's still a free agent, but I don't know if she has the on-TV time thing going on. I don't know about that. I can't confirm that one. But it would still be something. Lance, over to you.
Brie Bella winning by disqualification. I see a title change, maybe at Survivor Series.
All right. So next we have a WWE Tag Team Championship match, and this pretty much just formed this past Monday on Raw. They were supposed to have a number one contendership between the Shield.
Something about this?
Go ahead.
This matchup was formed completely out of freaking logic. Remember, when you are thinking of this matchup and how it was made, you got to think WWE logic, which completely makes no sense whatsoever. You cannot use common logic, everyday logic, because it doesn't apply to WWE Creative because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Considering the fact that in more random instances, one, the Usos, they've already won a number one contenders match in the past, and they were due a title shot and never got it. Two, in the Shield, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, they lost a tag team title. They lost a title in, I want to say, about 99.9999999 to the infinity % of wrestling promotions. It's always been fans' common knowledge that whenever a champion loses his title, unless it is specified that they don't get a rematch, then they already have a rematch clause and a rematch entitled to that champion. Why in the world did WWE go this route is just completely beyond me.
Well, there you go. You just answered your own question, Billy. Okay, now let me, before you go on more of a rant, okay, you have the conflict. You have a legitimate Usos who are number one contenders, and then you have the Shield who just lost, who have the rematch clause. Now they had this match, and they said, wouldn't it be something if they made the Hell in a Cell a specialty match? So obviously the WWE or any wrestling promotion would say, let's make it interesting. Let's make it a triple threat. So obviously, the Usos and the Roman and the Shield were going to fight. The fight broke down, and they said, well, let's make it a triple threat. It made so much sense. That's not WWE logic. That's wrestling logic. And you know what? Before I kick it over to Joe to ask him if he agrees with me or disagrees, you know what? I think that the Roads are going to win. I think the Roads are going to retain. Over to you, Joe. Would you agree with me or would you disagree with me?
No, I absolutely agree with you. And what better way to show off to the fans that the WWE still has tag teams by bringing the two number one contending teams to fight against the champions. They're trying to make the tag team title important again. They're trying to make this belt that was in limbo now the focus of the fans. So since TNA's been focusing on tag teams, why not WWE focus on tag teams? The Shield, the Usos, the Rhodes. I'm gonna say this is gonna be the best match of the night, and I have to agree with Rick on this. The Rhodes are gonna win this match. They're gonna keep the titles because I don't see the Usos winning it. It's too soon for the Shield to win it again. I see the Shield winning it later on, but I gotta give the WWE credit making a triple threat. Is this a regular match? It's not a Hell in a Cell match. So if it's a regular, triple threat tag team match, it's going to be a great match.
Okay. And Lance, over to you.
I see Dusty's boys winning it.
All right. Will, your thoughts?
Expect the Rose Brothers to keep the belts until Royal Rumble, and then I would see the Usos getting a fair shot.
All right. Andy, your thoughts?
None. Why? All I can say is why.
Wow. All right.
You hate the Rhodes family that much?
I don't hate.
Dusty.
I just don't hate them that much. It's just like Why? How many times are they going to put them together again?
The Rose family's never been together.
Well, and
they are, though. I mean,
was
it not the last... Go on, carry on.
Let me chime in. This is the only way Cody Rhodes is going to mean anything. That's the only way Cody Rhodes is significant by being a tag team partner of his brother. His charisma comes out, his attitude in wrestling it's better, and his ring skill becomes even much more better because he has to compete on the same level as his brother, who's more famous.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next match, which is the handicap Hell in a Cell match between CM Punk versus Ryback and Paul Heyman. Now, guys, I think this is really getting a little bit crazy. And if it does, this feud not between necessarily CM Punk and Ryback, but CM Punk and Paul Heyman. This feud has been going on for several months. And when a feud goes on between a wrestler and a manager for this long, it goes on longer than some feuds between wrestlers and wrestlers, and it's getting pretty pathetic, guys. That's just my thoughts. It's getting sad, and it's just getting outright boring. This is like getting more boring than the Aces and Eights, angle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but here's the thing you need to look at it, though. The crowd reaction to the feud. I mean, how are the crowds responding to both CM Punk and Paul Heyman? And they are responding quite well to both Punk and Heyman, respectively. And as long as crowds show interest in the fact that they're doing an angle with CM Punk and Paul Heyman this long, WWE is going to look at it and say, you know what, as long as the fans are interested in it, we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, and that's the problem with me. I, for one, I'm just speaking for myself, I am not interested in it. Paul Heyman, you know what, I know what he's done, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for it, but I'm sorry, but the guy is just boring the hell out of me. I'm sorry. He is just really,
Wait, come again?
Yes, he's boring. He's getting boring. He really is. You can only do so much. You can do the same thing over and over so long before you get boring. It's a matter of time. It's just like I just get to the point where I'm like, okay, come on, enough. 1 minute when he gets ahead of the game, he brags, and then when he's cornered, he gets all scared and humbled. It's just he's predictable and it's boring, and I'm getting sick of it. And it's like enough is a fucking enough. Get your ass kicked and be done with it, and go fucking hide in the corner.
Fans can look at it as this is possible being the climax of the feud between Punk and Heyman.
If this is the climax, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. This is if you consider this the orgasm, I'm sorry. It's no. This is not a climax.
Well, see, it would either be that, or there's a heavily big rumor out there that a Survivor Series they're going to be working towards a Team Heyman versus Team Punk.
And that's what's going to suck, because that's my point. I don't want to see this go on any further. I want it to end. I want it over, done, finished.
Well, tell you what, it's not. It's a lot better than the feud they did in TNA with Samoa Joe and D'Angelo De Niro, I'll tell you that.
Not much. Not much. You know what? I'm going to get over this. I'm going to just, real quick. Is the pick as to who's going to win. Hopefully, I'm guessing nobody's going to get in the cell. I'm hoping, Ryback, Punk is going to win. Finally get his hands on Heyman somehow. Beat his ass, get the win. Billy, your thoughts?
Well, considering that this was last year's main event for Hell in the Cell, for them to do it again, I gotta say they really gotta step up from what they did last year. And if Punk does get his hands on Heyman, then yeah, we're not gonna see Heyman for quite some time in WWE. But do I want to see the feud end? I actually like the feud. And we're all entitled to our opinion. I mean, you like...
You are, absolutely.
Yeah, you like Oksana. I say Oksana's a butt-ugly fucking troll.
Okay, so. You think... All right, fair enough. Andy, your thoughts?
I'm inclined to go with Billy on this one. I'd rather watch that angle span out than this clusterfuck of the rocking chair hillbillies.
All right. Joe, your thoughts?
You know what? I have to agree with these guys. Paul Heyman knows how to play the crowd, and he knows how to aggravate you. And then when he's gonna get that beating, he pulls back and he really gets into the heel manager role. Like, oh, don't hurt me. I see, and here it is, I see CM Punk winning the Hell in a Cell, but when he's about to beat the crap out of Paul Heyman, Ryback comes in and attacks him from the back. The match is over. Curtis Axel runs in, and they start beating up on Punk. Sets up for Survival Series. So Punk wins, but doesn't get the chance to beat on Paul Heyman.
All right. Andy, I'm sorry, I didn't get your pick for the win. Who's your pick? Punk or Ryback and Heyman?
CM Punk.
Okay. Will, your thoughts?
Didn't this match happen last year with Brad Maddox being the goofball referee?
Yes, it will. Yes, it is. But now the only difference is now it's a handicap match, and it's not for the the WWE title.
Oh, thank Lord for that one.
Who's got the handicap?
Punk may have a handicap, but if he gets that kendo stick, it's a different damn story. I got CM Punk winning and Heyman getting jacked.
All right. Fine, Lance, over to you.
I see CM Punk winning and Twinkie Tits crying in the corner.
Twinkies.
All right.
Why did I just do that?
You know what?
I don't know.
We'll move on before I throw up. Moving on, we now have a World Championship World Championship match between Alberto Del Rio and returning John Cena. Now, some people are really down the middle on this one. Some people are wondering, John Cena's been gone for 4 or 5 months, and instantly he comes back right into a title match. Now, some people have not realized that
he's been gone
he left
2 months. Because it's
2 months.
Yeah, it's ever since SummerSlam. The day after SummerSlam, John Cena's been gone.
Okay, fine. My mistake. I'm sorry if I was off a little time. Okay. But even still, he's only been gone 2 months, and the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that he left as the former WWE champion, and any champion has a right for a title, for a rematch. So he has a rematch clause. He can't obviously get a WWE rematch, so he's going to give him a world title shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, you can't give him a shot against Vacant. Vacant's the current WWE champion, so of course he can't do that.
Well, obviously, but the point, though, is that 2 other people are biting for that title, which we're going to talk in a minute. The point, though, is that they're going to give him, a title against Alberto Del Rio.
But I think what we really need to be focusing on is, we have to look at the arm, the left arm of John Cena, and see how well that he functions with it, how well he moves with it, if there's any residual effects from the surgery that he had, because I gotta tell you, even to this day, when I look at a picture of what his elbow looked like the day after SummerSlam, that's a nasty, nasty looking elbow. I mean, I don't know what else to say beyond that, but I think one of the things we need to pay attention to is, we have to see, is how well does John Cena function with his left arm coming off an injury involving that surgery.
All right. Well, who's your pick since you brought it up?
And I'll tell you what, Alberto Del Rio really has not been up to par as of late as being a good heel champion. Fans might hate him, yes, but is he being a good heel champion like he was about a year ago or 2 years ago? No. I mean, Del Rio's really, really just, not up to par, and I would not be surprised to see WWE put the title on John Cena. I mean, the World Heavyweight title, and I will say this, if WWE, Hell in a Cell, if they open it up with the World Heavyweight title match, the very first match, I am not going to be happy about that, because that is a total slap in the face to the history and the lineage of that title.
Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I would not be surprised if they do. Because, let's face it, they usually have one title at the beginning and one title at the end. It's just how they've done it throughout the years.
And why not the Divas title?
Because the point is, it's the 2 world titles. They have one at the beginning and one at the end. That's just how they've been trying to do it, and that's how they've done it for several years. All right, but before we get into this, that should be a discussion for another topic for another night. But my pick, honestly, I can really see Cena winning this title. I have to agree with you there. Andy, your thoughts?
Andy's in the cough medicine right now.
Yeah.
That's how much the topic really excites him.
Yeah, he fell asleep. Joe, your thoughts?
Why bring John Cena back so soon and just give him a belt? The only thing I could see the reason to bring him back is they want to boost SmackDown's ratings. And I hope, and let's face it, it is John Cena, so you're not going to see this be the opener. This match is not going to be the opener.
Thank God.
Yeah, because John Cena is never defended a title or won a title as an opener in any pay-per-view. You're going to see him be like, he's probably going to be before the Hell in a Cell matches. So I can honestly see the Divas match opening this up or the tag title opening this pay-per-view up. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree and see John Cena winning this belt just to boost the SmackDown's ratings.
Would it not only boost SmackDown ratings, but would it boost the reputation and the respect level that the World Heavyweight Championship is supposed to have?
Oh, absolutely. It'll finally bring this belt up because this belt needs to be recognized. It has a great lineage. It's such a disrespect to open up a show with your World Heavyweight title. And it is that. It is a World Heavyweight title. Means that it's supposed to be the bigger belt than the WWE Championship. So,
but that's the thing. That's the thing that nobody has. Everyone in wrestling, marks have to understand. At the end of the day, when it comes to the WWE is the primary. That the World Heavyweight Champion has become the proverbial IC title belt. Like it or not, like it or lump it, that is a fact. And that's why they say, look, we're going to put this at the beginning. It's become, even Joe said, it's become the redheaded stepchild.
Yep, you know what, and I agree, and I stand behind that statement, but now with John Cena in the picture, the altar boy of the WWE, you're going to see this belt become more meaningful. Because it's going to be now the shining star. No offense, Rick. It's going to be it's going to be the shining star of SmackDown. It's going to be the title that people are going to want to watch more than the WWE title because it's going to mean more.
Rick's the shining star, not because of a belt. That's a whole other ball of wax.
That it is. Okay, Will, your thoughts and picks.
Short and sweet. Del Rio retains. Cena will beat him up, and a possible cash-in for Sandow.
And that is a topic that I was going to bring up, because that is the X factor. Because we do have it's a very light card. And you know what? Let's get over to Lance. Lance, I'm going to bring over to you. I want your thoughts and picks.
Thoughts? Honestly, they couldn't have had Cena come back at Rumble and got the big pop there, just saying. But anyway, I can kind of see this main eventing just because it has Cena in it.
I don't think it's going to main event. I think what they really want to main event is the vacant WWE championship. They know that people have been getting pissed off. If they do not main event, the Bryan Orton match, then they are fools. That's just my thoughts.
But that would be common logic. Gotta use WWE logic.
True. True.
You see Cena, main event.
Yeah.
But I gotta put Cena.
With
the standout cash in.
The way I see the matches are going, the last three will be the World Heavyweight Championship with John Cena and Del Rio, then the handicap match with CM Punk and Ryback, and then the Hell in a Cell Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan. That's how it's going to be. So either the Divas match is going to open, or the tag team match is going to open.
Yeah, see, I disagree. I still think the World Heavyweight Championship, it's going to be a kickoff, and then the World Heavyweight Championship is going to open. Don't be surprised, guys, if we see that happen.
I think
that's my
call. Split up the cells. Might have one right after the other.
Yeah, they're going to have to. They're going to have to open this league.
Split that up.
You know what? I don't see John Cena opening a pay-per-view.
Hell no.
Not necessarily, because if they want to get that opening pop.
Well, then they'll do that with the tag team titles because it has to be an action-packed, speedy match. It has even me as a promoter, that opening match has to be something that attracts the fans, gets them motive, it gets their motivation going. A lot of people are paying to see John Cena return. What better way to keep them zoned in on your pay-per-view than to push them further down the road? What stops everybody from already knowing the other outcomes of the other matches? Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Ryback,
But
they.
Let me ask you this real quick. Because we've heard this so many times about in so many, mostly with WrestleManias, that they've had like big matches like the Undertaker matches, which is obviously a big attraction in the past. And that they've said that, they've seen the Undertaker matches, and after the Undertaker matches, the fans are just so wound down from it because they've taken all the energy just from that match, and they don't remember the match right after that, even though that match was probably, on the card or even on its own was a really great match, but they were so drawn out that they needed a couple of cooler matches. So if you took, a Cena match and put it right after a Hell in a Cell match.
Not after, before them. Because that gives them time to set bring the cage down and all that.
But that's what I'm saying. It still wouldn't. It would be just. Wouldn't that draw all their energy out? And they'd be like, okay, fine. We just saw this great match with Cena. Even though if it's like a quick match, I think Cena would have to beat him like 1, 2, 3. Yay, he's gone and out the door. It would have to be a squash match.
Now,
that's what I think.
Well, how I see it is, you got to think of it like this: buy rates. How many people buy to see John Cena?
And I agree with you. I'm not denying that.
Yeah, so
I'm just saying...
That goes to Cena fans and Cena haters, too.
Agree. All right, well, let's move on. Let's get on to the main event. This is for the vacant WWE Championship match, and this is in a Hell in a Cell. Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan, and, of course, the man in question. The big question is special guest referee Shawn Michaels, who has pretty much screwed about a good 50-75% of the people who he's special refereed. He's never been exactly a straight guy.
Well, he was with Triple H and The Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell and WrestleMania.
And he even kind of screwed him a little bit. He even was questionable in that match, if you watch. Go back. He didn't play it right down the line. He kind of even threw a few sweet chin musics. So he's never always played it straight. Now, let's get down to it. Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan. Is this finally Daniel Bryan's moment?
A lot of fans would love for Daniel Bryan to be the guy. I mean, he is right now one of the most over guys right now in the WWE. I mean, the guy literally just has to go out there, doesn't have to say anything, just raises 2 fingers, and the entire crowd goes absolutely ape shit. It is true. It is unbelievable how over Daniel Bryan is. And if they put the title on Daniel Bryan at Hell in a Cell, I guarantee you the roof on the arena where they're going to be at will explode with yeses.
Andy, you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Your thoughts, Randy Orton or Daniel Bryan, do you think Shawn Michaels will play it straight down the middle, or do you think he's a double-crosser?
He'll double-cross, but at the end of the day, it'll go to Daniel Bryan.
All right. Will, your thoughts?
I'm sorry. Yes. Just kidding.
Yes. Oh, no, I guess you mean Daniel Bryan's your pick.
Shawn Michaels will not call the match down the middle. Sorry, can't see it.
So who's your pick then for the win?
He already said it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, you said he's not going to call it down the middle, so all right. Well, so now let's go over to Lance. Your thoughts?
Well, first I got to admit I'm a HBK mark, but I see him going with what's best for business, and that is RKO.
All right. Joseph, your thoughts?
Here's one thing, I have to say Daniel Bryan all the way. The reason being, Shawn Michaels has been with Triple H, and they have always bucked the system. They always went against the corporate nature. Let's face it, Triple H is now the corporate nature. He is the man, and they always went against the man. I could see Shawn Michaels appearing that he's supporting Triple H, and then at the last moment does something to Randy Orton. Randy Orton maybe does something to him, and then sweet chin music, rolls up Daniel Bryan and tells Triple H straight, we stood against the establishment, we stood against people like McMahon, and here you're supporting him and being like him. We're not friends anymore. And he does that, so I see Daniel Bryan walking away.
Oh, you know what? We did miss one match. I'm sorry, and it was on the bottom. It wasn't even that bold because I think everything else is like all highlighted because this is how unimportant it was. I added in at the last minute. So, this is the Real Americans versus the Lost Matadors, and of course, this match is just the big feud here is with the Bull and what's his name? I can forget.
El Torito.
Oh, God. Now, the tag team match itself should be pretty good. Like I said, the Lost Matadors, I think the gimmick's silly. They got great wrestling ability, but I'm going to do a quick pick. I think the Lost Matadors is going to win. Guys?
All hail El Torito.
All right. Andy, your thoughts?
That's Will's alter ego, by the way.
I have completely no idea and don't really care about the match at all.
Fair enough. Will?
By the guy who can beat Los Matadores.
I know. I only speak English, but okay. I'll have our HWR translator come in later on for that.
So I'll call him, make sure to find out when he gets off from Taco Bell.
Okay. Will, your thoughts? Lance, your thoughts. Hello. Wake up.
This is going to be the piss break of the night, but...
What?
Antics back outside the ring between El Torito and Dutch are going to be the highlight of the match, but I see Los Matadores.
All right.
I'll pay good money to hear Michael Cole say "butt gore" again.
God, Steve, I'll DVR it. I'll copy it for you.
Thank you.
All right, Joe, over to you.
I'll have to say the Los Matadors, and I know Tito Santana is probably going to be trying to get into the building to support them. So, again, Los Matadors.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wind it up for this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio. Make sure you like and subscribe to the show. We, of course, are always over on our YouTube page. That's youtube.com/HWR Show. And, of course, anytime you want to listen to our show over our Spreaker page, head on to Spreaker.com/HWR Media. Andy, where can people find you at?
Sorry, I keep muting my microphone. You can find me at www.stokehaunted.com.
And on the Dixie Train.
And on the Dixie Train. Billy, why don't you tell us all about WGS TV?
Oh, WGS TV is the only place on the internet where you can find awesome gameplays like currently right now, BioShock Infinite, along with the greatest and always awesome wrestling talk with yours truly, and the entire folks here at HWR always join me whenever they can on WGS TV for some great reviews, DVD reviews, anything we got to talk about. We always talk about it on there as well. So be sure you check it out, youtube.com/WrestleGamer, and Dixie Train is not allowed there.
I have to stop 2 stops before that. And Lance, why don't you tell everybody about Lance TV?
Lance Moss TV, I do a little bit of wrestling reviews, album reviews, NASCAR reviews, some cooking videos, and Q&As and whatever else pops in my head.
Well, shining up his horns right now as he prepares to go out to the El Torito at Hell in a Cell.
And Will, where can everyone find you at?
Not on the Dixie Train, that's for damn sure. I'll be around HWR or WGS TV writing up some articles, funny pictures, and translations of Los Matadores.
Andy, are you the conductor of the Dixie Train, or are you in the caboose right now?
No.
I'm stoking the tinderbox.
Yeah, because the Godfather's the conductor.
Thanks for that one.
And Joe, why don't you tell everyone all about Classic Wrestling Association?
Well, they can find us on ClassicWrestlingAssociation.com and also on Facebook at ClassicWrestlingAssociation.com. Come down and see us. Like us. view our videos. Also, Jesse Ventura for president, please.
Well, that's going to be it, and I want to thank everyone for joining us. So make sure you check on over our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. So until the next time, this is Rick Starr saying we'll see you when we see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this week's edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio has been brought to you by James and Big Easy's brand new charity, Share Shots to the Homeless, who worship Oksana wearing duck outfits.
And just remember, tonight only is 20% off, and you have to use this special code word, DUCK.
Damn! Andy, pull it out!
Thank you for listening to this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio. Be sure to follow us on our pages, facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio and Spreaker.com/HWR Media, and also on youtube.com/HWR Show. Until the next time, this is Rick Starr saying see you when we see you.